Okay, fine. Good morning. We are in module 4 now, and we have been discussing some of the topics in the last class. So just to brief you out what we have discussed in the previous class, we have discussed on cloud computing. We know that in this module we are going to be associated with IoT technologies and specifically the cloud computing. Okay, in cloud computing, what we have understood. So we know that before in IoT previous modules and all we have discussed on sensors, actuators, and all those things. So they play a major role in just collecting the information or whatever sensed data is there from the environment. So whatever data is there, that is going to be processed further and that is going to be utilized further for the communication process and all. So we have seen all those things in the previous module. What is a sensor, what is an actuator, what is an IoT technology, what are the techniques associated with it, all those things. In this module, we are going to see about the cloud computing. So what we know that cloud computing is one of the major resource of IoT, wherein you can see that you can have different computing facilities available, which can be utilized for the user, and user can make sure that their process works fine. There is no need of any external hardware. They can use the virtual hardware as well. Okay. So you can create and use this technology. So you need to, if you are using some cloud computing, means when you are using some part of the cloud, you need to pay for it. So that if you are using, for example, 1 terabyte of memory, so you need to pay for that and you have to pay it. But you can customize your requirement as per your need of the user. Okay. So that is one good advantage of that. These things we have seen. We have also seen the traditional, that is the network compounding as well as cloud computing. So network computing, what we have seen that the device connected to different computer systems. Like you are transferring the information or you are having a master slave model. All those things you can see. That is what we have seen in the previous things. But when you are going with cloud computing, you can say that you have the cloud infrastructure wherein you have the resource pool and all these facilities. Now user 1, 2, 3 or user ABC can use the cloud infrastructure as and when he needs. See, now you need the cloud infrastructure for 1 month. You can pay for it and you can use it. Now you are not in need of that for next month. You can just drop it down. So you can take the memory capacity, you can take the RAM capacity, whatever you need. You can have a virtual machine and you can just go ahead with the entire process. So that is what we have seen. You have different users and you are going to use this facility as and when it is required for the user. Okay. So this we have a cloud service provider. We call it as CPS. Okay, cloud service. Sorry, CSP. So it is a cloud service provider, CSP. So you can see that CSP in most of the slides. So cloud service provider, their main objective is that, for example, now Rashid needs some data and he want to sort out some information. He want to work in MATLAB, he want to work in NS2, he want to work in many tools. But he is not upgraded his laptop. His laptop is almost around 5 years old. Okay. So what he can go for is he can pay some amount and he can customize his entire requirement. So it will be a virtual machine one for example, NS2 virtual machine 2 for MATLAB. He can customize it. Now 1 month he is completely doing it and he gets tired of it. He wants something else. He can drop that out. For that, we don't have to keep on upgrading. It is very much user friendly. Now for example, Chandra is going for something else. Okay, so she can pay for another user. She can be a different user and she can go for it. So these are some of things that you can take care. Okay, so let us go with the next concept. Is this clear? We have discussed all this introduction in the previous class. Let us go about with virtualization. So let us now this class we are going to discuss on virtualization. So what is virtualization? What do you understand by virtualization? So you can see that it is a key concept of cloud computing entire process, where the technique of sharing a single resource among multiple users. See. Now I have 1 terabyte of memory. It's not compulsory that I should give everything to Rashid and nothing to Chaitra. Instead of that, Rashid is asking for somewhere around 256. So I can go for, she is asking for 256, I am going to get revenue from both the sides. Isn't it? So that is very important. If so, he don't have to take the entire burden of that. He can customize the entire hardware. So as per his requirement. So technique of sharing a single resource among multiple users in an organization or end user is known as virtualization. So is that clear for you? You have around 60 students in the class. Your requirements will be different. You pay and take some part of that as per your requirement. User A, B, C, D, Z, 100, user 100, whatever it is. So as per your requirement, you customize the process and take it. So that is what we call it as technique of sharing the single resource among multiple end user, organizers or end users is known as virtualization. Okay. So in virtualization process, physical resources, what is that? Physical resources are locally distributed among multiple users. That is very important. Now you take you take a computer. Even though you take a very high-end computer, but you are not using it to that extent. But your friend is having a very low-end computer, but his requirement is more than your requirement. But even though you want to share the resources, it is not possible. But in the case of cloud computing, the infrastructure can be utilized as and when your requirement is there. Okay. So you can say that the resource is unlimited and is dedicatedly provided to any person as per their requirement. And you can see that traditional desktops where the applications on the top of that OS resources are utilized only for a particular application. Now you know that some of the resources, some of the apps you need to run. So you see that it doesn't work in Windows 11. It works in Windows 7 or Windows 10. So sometimes it works only in Linux. So based on your requirement, you have to keep on upgrading or changing your OS and all those things, and you have to make sure that which is important for you, you have to go for it. So, but those facilities are possible in a virtualization software or by using the cloud computing model. where you can see that multiple resources can be used at different end users in this process. Is that clear for you? Okay, fine. So virtualization it separates the resources logically and no conflict among the users during the resource allocation. So you can now many users will be there as per there is no conflict between them. It is completely as per the user. So now, if you are going for a very high-end machine learning process of coding and all those things, you may need a very huge capacity of hardware requirements, and now you can go for this model and you can try to run all these things. So you might have, I don't know whether you have gone through this collab and all, you can see that top you can see 256 RAM or whatever it is there, it is allocated for you. This much storage space, everything is allocated for you. If you are using mail, all of you are using mail, I think, email. Yahoo, but this one, nobody knows Reddit and all before it was there. Okay, fine. Most of you are using Gmail. So what you can see that some of the memory is allocated for you, free. They are not charging anything for you, but you want to increase that capacity of your memory backup, you need to pay for it. Okay, so those things are there. As and when the user is in need of it, he can go ahead with that. So you can note down few key points, and we'll move on to the next slide. I think you might have completed it. Okay, fine. Let us move on to the next slide. Okay, you have seen that. You can see in the figure, this is a normal desktop where you can see the resources, operating system as well as the whatever apps you are going to load it. But in the case of a virtualization, what you can see is resources will be there. Then you will be having a virtualized software. So that as and when the user is in need of that, they can keep that specific allocation of whatever it is required. Okay. Then you can see that OS is loaded, and then you have whatever apps you want. Okay. So you have this is the main difference between the desktop and virtualization. Is that clear for you? Desktop means what? As and when you are using the same thing. You have certain resources, you have an operating system, and whatever apps you load it and use it. But in the case of virtualization, you have the resources, you have on top of it a virtualized software, and then, for example, different users can have a different OS as well as different apps associated with that. So this is the main classification between them, and you know that both has its own advantages and disadvantages. So I think you might have drawn this as well. So we will go with the next slide. So what are the advantages of virtualization? If you implement virtualization, what is the advantage of that? What you feel that the advantages will be? So you can say that increasing the number of, you know that there are every day, the number of users are increasing. It's not decreasing. Every day it is increasing. The requirement of the users are also increasing. And because today some new application will come, you will try to load it. It will be very huge that you may not be able to support your in the laptop, whatever you have, or desktop you have. So the requirements, all those things are increasing. So the demand for the cloud computing is also going high. Okay. So you can say that number of interconnected heterogeneous devices are increasing in IoT, which is important for virtualization, and the processor. All these things are increasing day-to-day basis. So users at least need to bother where the data from different heterogeneous devices are being stored and processed. So you can also say mainly connected with other services and different software, like you might have heard about VMware. Okay, enables the concept of virtualization, and you can say that cloud computing, different organizations and individuals were using as and when they need, and it is cost based, like if you pay for it you use it. Okay, cloud computing plays a vital role in keeping the backups, and you can say that two entities of cloud computing is, one is end user, and another is, what is CSP? Cloud service provider. So there are you can say that two cloud computing architecture, then entities of two entities of cloud computing architecture is, one is end user and another is the service provider, the cloud service provider. So we are going to see the advantages of end user as well as advantages of the cloud service provider. Okay. So both end users and cloud service provider are benefited. See, you know that end user. What is the benefit? If you are all the user, what is the benefit? You can store your data somewhere in the cloud. Wherever you are, you can go and use it. You don't have to take the hardware and move around here and out. You save it in India, you can use it in US. Okay. So many advantages are there. Flexibility is there. Then you can say that you are not able to customize your laptop. You can customize here and use it any software. So many advantages are there for the end user. For service provider, what is the advantage? When your user is there, they are going to get some money, and they are going to make use of the utilization of the resources in a systematic way. So they can see. Now they will customize it also properly, like user A needs so much of information, user B needs so much of requirement. So they get paid from user A, B, and all those people. So all those both are benefited, both are having advantages. So we are going to discuss on both the sides, advantages of end users as well as advantages of cloud service providers. So first let us see the advantages of end user. So you just imagine that you are an end user, and what are the advantages you will get. First, before explaining, I will just give you what are the advantages you are going to get. Variety. One of the advantages is variety. Second advantage is what? Availability. Third advantage is portability, and the fourth advantage is elasticity. So we are going to, this is for the end user. So what are the advantages for end user? Variety, then availability, portability, and elasticity. So by the word itself, you know that what it's all about. Okay. Now, if you go for the cloud service provider, what are those advantages? Resource utilization as well as effective revenue generation. That's what they need, isn't it? So, and users need these advantages, and the service provider need those advantages. So, we are going to see that advantages of end user. So, first one is what? Variety, which everyone likes in all the fields. Variety. Variety in the process. So what it is there, the process of visualization in cloud computing enables the end users to use various types of applications based on their requirement. Any application you have in this, you can run based on with the help of cloud computing. Okay, you can so it is giving you the choice to select, or it is giving you the flexibility to go ahead with that. So let us take an example. So you just think that we have put John there. So let us take someone else there and see that. So we will go with any one example. I think Anush will go with this guy. Okay. So Anush is having a very huge studio and he is running and he's a very good and entrepreneur and he funds around lakhs together for his business. Okay. What happens is his requirements are too high that he is not having that computing facility or he is not willing to fund so much of computing facility for his day-to-day basis because his business may be today very good, may not be tomorrow. So he is having a dilemma that whether to go for so much of investment for his computing infrastructure. So what he does is he go and take so much of photographs and he go and use all these things. So he want to edit those things. But his computer is pretty old and it's not supporting for him. So what he has to do, he has to buy some infrastructure from the cloud and he has to customize it. So what he does is so resources limited to PC and he is unable to handle those softwares, whatever it is, photo editing software and all. So what he will do is Anush will go and get some. What you are going to do it? So he will have some PC regulator performance and he get it install some X photo editor, which will help him to edit his photos in the cloud and he can then after everything he can download that and he can use it. Okay. So what he is going to he has to work on a specific X photo editor software and which needs lot of requirements and which will be supported very comfortably in the cloud environment rather than this computing whatever facilities he has. Okay. So in his VM, this VM is what? Virtual machine. So in his VM, he installs the X photo editor and he starts working on that process. Suddenly, Anish feels very much bored about editing these photos and he thinks that it's boring nowadays to go for editing the photo. Let me go for some videos. Yeah. So he feels that the video plays a major role than these photos and his entrepreneurship process can also be enhanced and he will get more money. Like he starts going with YouTube videos, customizing for those things, and he go for many other marriage related videos and so much of things. Like this, he needs to still upgrade his so after 6 months, he thinks that the video editing is very much important. So what he goes for editing and capturing the videos. And for that, what he has to do, he has to install a Y video editor. So the X video editor was export editor was useful only for editing the photos. It's not useful for video editing. So he has to go for a Y video editor. So what he has to do, he has to customize the entire process and he has to go for it. But imagine that he is not having, he may change his skill set, he may change his way of thinking, process of approach, everything. So you can have that variety as an end user in the case of cloud computing. Is that clear for you? So it will be very much useful for installing the using variety of softwares for different purpose. So that is what we can say. You have the entire flexibility to use any software as and when you need it. So what is the next one? Availability. So if you have this flexibility of variety and all this process, but the availability is not there, means you will find it very much difficult. So what is availability? So we will go with the next advantage, that is availability. What is that? So virtualization makes available a considerable amount of resources as per the user requirement. So if the user needs some information, some bit of memory, some capacity, hardware, means infrastructure facilities and all those things, it can be provided. Now let us feel that the email service. Now you are going for email service, and some of them are using the email service from pretty long time. So you can feel that you are having a free database of 2 GB. 2 GB is given free for you. But you are keep on downloading you have so much of attachments, you have done so much of things. You are you are in data, you generate data very frequently and you keep loading your resources. Okay. So this 2 MB is nothing. It gets off within short period of time. So what will happen? You have to go for 2 GB data is nothing for you. So you need to go for upgrading that, and for that you pay some. You can say $100 or you pay some 1,000 rupees or whatever it is as per your requirement, and you take that in bit of data and you just add it to you for your requirement. So you just say that I need 1 terabyte of data instead of this 2 GB. Then you pay so much and you add those information. So these are used in some of the organizations as well, where you need like for example we are using Teams, and we are storing lot of information in Teams, isn't it? So this capacity, whatever they have given, if we find that it is not sufficient, we have to pay and take some more. That means capacity for upgradation, and we will be using it first. So what is the next one? Portability. So availability of cloud computing services. That is, you can say that anywhere in the world, and you can also say that any instant of time. You can have anywhere at any instant of time. So the example is the person flying from US to India or US to UK, wherever it is. Even if I dump all this information in the cloud, then I can use it anywhere. It is not that I have to carry the entire hardware and or pen drive or whatever you carry daily basis. No, don't do nowadays. Okay. Just put whatever information is there, put it in the drive and try to use it. That is what the future that everyone will be expecting you to do. You are working on a Word file, work in Drive. If you are working on a PPT, work in Drive. You can save it there itself. So what is advantage? For example, you forget to get something, you can go and check it out there. Your resumes, all those things, your marks cards, everything you can store it in the Google Drive. So this is what the portability is all about. What is the last one? Elasticity. So what is elasticity? Elasticity. So this is clear for you. We'll go with elasticity. So elasticity means what? The end user can scale up or scale down. See, today, as of today, you need, as I have been discussing before also, today you have the requirement of using MATLAB, NS2 and all those things. So you will scale up. And after 1 month, you feel that my work is done with MATLAB. Then I don't have to pay for MATLAB again. Why should I pay when it is not required for me? So when I will take virtual machine 1 and virtual machine 2. So here the operating system, Ubuntu operating system will be loaded, and you are going to use the NS2 software there. But when I am going with the virtual machine 2, I will be going with the Windows 10, and I will be loading my MATLAB for the simulation process. After some time, over a duration of 1 month, I feel, see, both nobody will give me free of cost. I have to take both, isn't it? So I have to purchase both. But during the process of 1 month, I found that my work is done with MATLAB, and there is no need of me to carry this MATLAB further. It is over. My simulation process, my research work, whatever it is done. So I don't have to use it further. So I just feel that I can drop it down one and I can carry on with the virtual machine. Two can be dropped and I can bill only for the virtual machine one. So this is the process where you can scale up and scale down the entire thing. Okay. So you don't worry about jack and all those things. You can go ahead with anybody. Okay. So it is a user. It is a user. So fine. Is that clear? So some of the students will be very particular that I have to write jack itself or daily or anything. So, so this process of scaling up and down is possible in the case of, we call it as elasticity. So, what are the four advantages possible for end users? First one is variety, availability, portability, as well as elasticity. So, if that clear, these are the advantages of end user. What are the advantages of cloud service provider? This is clear now for all of you.
Yes, sir.
So let us go with the advantages of cloud service provider. What are the advantages of cloud service provider? Yeah, first one is resource utilization. So cloud computing architecture processes resources and others can own it and third parties can use it. So these are the resources are distributed among different users as and when they need it. But they are not going to distribute this as and when you need. You need to pay and take it. Okay. So you can say that the resource providers to use at any instant of time and provide another. See, now one user needs some resources and that person is done with it. He will that resources can be utilized for the another person. If the availability of resources is there, then you can make sure that you can say that if there is a huge demand, the cost also will fluctuate. Okay, so that's what. So you can see that cloud computing architecture resources can be reutilized for multiple users as and when it is required. So that is advantage of cloud service provider. What is the second advantage? Effective revenue generation, which everyone likes it, isn't it? So cloud service providers generate revenue from the end users based on the resource utilization. See, means how much resource they utilize, based on that they generate the revenue, and user A utilize the storage facility and user will release the storage facility after a few days. So whatever days he has used that facility, based on that they are going to charge for them. Okay. So the cloud service provider earns some revenue from user A based on the allocation of resources, whatever it is done for the user. And in future, you can say that the cloud service provider will provide the same storage for user B. See, now one user has used and they have paid, they have used all the facilities, they are done with it. Next user, when user B will come, they will allocate the same resource to that user B and they will again charge and make sure that they keep on doing this process for different users as and when they have a need of it. Okay. So generate revenue from user B and this process keeps continuing. So user A will take the resources, if he is done with it, he will say that my requirement is done. Then somebody else who is in need of it, they will buy it. So the revenue keeps on generating. So this process keeps continuing, and these are the advantages. So we have seen 4 advantages of end user and 2 advantages of service provider. So what are the 4 advantages of end user? elasticity. And the advantages of service provider, cloud service provider is resource utilization and effective revenue generation. So these are the things. Now in this we will stop it here for today, and in the upcoming class we are going to discuss on types of virtualization. Okay. So that's all enough for today. Thank you.